Assalamu alaikum Muslim brothers and sisters. I'm going to talk about the problems I see with Muslims today in the Muslim world and the problems they have in governing their lives according to Islam. So, when you're looking at Islam, you have to see two things. Islam as a personal means of communication between that person that's trying to implement it and God, and no one else's business. So, a lot of Muslims say that a lot of secular Muslims say that religion is between me and God, and God's going to judge me. That is correct, but Islam is different from other religions of the world. Islam also advocates a form of governance in an Islamic society. So, in America, a lot of people say, a lot of Muslims say that they don't get their rights and blah blah blah. Islam says that basically that if you're living in a non-Muslim country, in a non-Muslim society, you have to abide by their laws. And if you don't like their laws, then you can come back to the Islamic country and you can't cry foul about it. So basically, you have to be law-abiding citizens. And if something is jeopardizing the law in America, if your action that's trying to implement the principle of Islam, if it's jeopardizing the law of America, then you can't protest about it. You have to come back to the Muslim world if you don't like it, or the Islamic society. So you don't have any choice about that. So that's one of my things about the niqab in America. If it is against American laws, then you can't do it. And Islam is a means of trying to get people together, trying to unite people together rather than divide. People forget that principle and still try to implement things, um, um, venting off other people's anger, and because of that, Islam gets such a bad name because people try to apply it aggressively on themselves and the rest of the people around them without having any kind of consideration that it's going to cause more divide rather than uniting people. So Islam is a means of uniting people, not dividing people. And if there's a problem implementing your Islamic law because it's creating a divide, then you have to go back to your Islamic country. No point bickering about it. Okay. So, and the second thing, Islam is a really logical religion. Islam is not a democracy in a pure sense. It is authoritative rule, and basically people don't elect the person who's going to be their leader, who's going to be the caliph of the society. The person that is the most knowledgeable and is the most pious, these two requirements are imperative. The most knowledgeable, the most pious gets to be and who has the interests of the Islamic society in his heart. That person can only be the caliph of that society, no one else. So it's different from democracy. But if you don't have these two considerations, pious, most knowledgeable, then it's not an Islamic society. And that's where the Muslim world today fails. For example, Saudi Arabia, kingdoms are being passed down. Children, the children of the kings become the kings after their fathers pass away, and stuff like that. It is not Islamic. It is not Islamic in any way. And basically, that's the problem in the Muslim world. People rule their society by means of money and whatnot. I don't know, politics, and not due to any Islamic principle. And secondly, the religious clergy of the Muslim society is responsible for ijtihad, or the progression of religion, basing it on the principles of Islam, trying to make it fit and more compatible with the world today. And the religious clergy has failed to do that. The religious clergy, because they didn't understand what the principles were for doing that progression of the Muslim world so that it would be compatible with today's world, tried to and tries to follow exactly what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did 1400 years ago. So times have changed. It's 1400. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do anything that the Prophet did. I'm saying you should do that, but you should understand the principles of why the Prophet did certain things and try to apply those principles so that you can have a progression in the religion, and that is imperative. It's called ijtihad, and no one does that properly in the Muslim clergy. And people don't understand the principles behind things. They're just follow their actions and they think that they're doing a really good job being religious. No, they're not. It's being anti-religious, in my opinion. So basically, I see the failure of two main institutions of the Islamic society: the leadership and the religious clergy. Both of these have failed extremely badly, and the Muslims are being they're just being treated like animals by these people, and because of these people, Islam gets a bad name, Muslims get a bad name, and Muslims are different, come in all different types. Not everyone is a pawn of these people. You have other types of religious Muslims as well that are not pawns, and then you have secular people as well. So Muslims come in all different types of shapes and names and personalities, and it's hard stereotyping anyone like anything. But I just wanted to say that Muslims have been responsible for their own downfall and their own sufferings in most cases. If you take out the politics of the situation, if you take out what the world's doing, well, you should try to clean out your own closet first before blaming the blame on anyone else. And yeah, I agree that the principles and the core of Islam is perfectly intact, but the people and the society, the religious clergy and the leaders have failed to implement Islam in its right spirit, and that's why you see all this problem in the Muslim world today. And that's the problem that I see. And basically, Islam itself is very much intact, and if it's applied in its right spirit, can only unite rather than divide, in my opinion. But you see all these political things today, political situations, and different countries, borders. Islam is not about borders. Islam is about calling everyone and being united. So Islam is not about divisions or it's about uniting people. So tell me what you think. Thank you.